Have you ever played basketball and felt that rush when the ball bounces up and down? It is so fun to watch, right? Well, today I'm going to show you how to animate a basketball in Blender, so you can not only enjoy watching it, but also learn how to create the animation yourself. So let's jump right in before it's too late. First thing first, if you don't already have a basketball model, I've made a free course where I teach you step by step how to model one. You can find the link above or down below this video. We have added the ball. All transformation, location, rotation, and scale have been applied. We want to make 4 copies of this ball. For that, press Shift and D to duplicate it. Then press Shift and R to repeat the action 4 times. That's it. If you notice, the location value has changed, specifically on X-axis. But that's not a problem, because right now we only care about Z-axis and the X-axis rotation. Let's start working with this model. I have a very useful reference, which is softer and much quicker to follow. It's a good fit for this task. Of course, you can find any reference in the internet and use it as a guide. But we will start with this one. I want the movement to feel a little soft at the beginning. First, we need to set up our timeline to 100 frames. Use the middle mouse button to move and control middle mouse to zoom. So frame 1 to frame 100. Now we are ready. Select the object and switch to solid mode. Choose the first ball. Now on the Z location, right click and select Insert Single Keyframe. In the timeline, duplicate that keyframe and move it to frame 101. This is because frame 1 and frame 100 are identical. So by adding it to frame 101, we create a loop. The frame 50 is the midpoint. But instead of placing it exactly at frame 50, let's shift it 10 frames earlier. Move the ball up about 5 meters. Right click and insert single keyframe again. Now let's duplicate this frame and place it on frame 60. Press Enter to confirm. The animation should now look like this. Press Ctrl Tab to switch. Then select the object and press the numpad period key to zoom into the keyframes. I select these 2 keyframes. Let's open the channels to see what we have under the sphere. You'll notice only the Z-axis are active. Select both. If you right-click, you'll see an option called Set Handle. The shortcut for that is V. Choose Vector. Now select these 2 handles and we can start adjusting them. Scale them down so they will meet each other. Now see what happens. It goes up and down. Let's select these 2. Select V and put them on vector. It looks better. Now move them up to Y. In the timeline, we can just move in Y-axis or X-axis. We have no Z-axis because it is a flat or 2D space. Move them up to Y-axis. Scale them, move them up to Y, scale them. Now see what happens. Let's work on the rotation. If I hit enter, you can see it has a lot of geometry. Hit R twice and rotate it like this, because I like to change the face or the direction of the ball in edit mode. You can see that nothing has happened to the Z location. That's because we just moved it in edit mode. Now we will work on X rotation. First, we are on frame 1. Right click, insert single keyframe. We don't want to start from here, but I want to simplify these steps. Hit 360 at the end. Until this frame, when it flies, it goes up. When it goes down, it stays in this state. We will write 360 for all of those, but notice that nothing happens from frame 1 to frame 20. So we will hide the Z location to see it clearly. We will now place it on frame 20. Also, we will place the last keyframe on frame 80. Let's place it on frame 80 now. Now let's see. Of course, we can place it on frame 85. We will place it on frame 50. 200. Right click, insert single keyframe. Let's move it to frame 20 again. Oh, it's great. We will start the next step from the beginning. First, we will place the keyframes on Z location. It's better to do this in the timeline. Shift Z to place it on frame 101. So far, everything is same as before. In this case, I want it to be placed earlier than the ground. We move to frame 40 and I type 5 meter in the Z location. Let's duplicate the same frame and move it to frame 60. Press Ctrl and Tab to switch to Graph Editor. Let's grab these two frames at the bottom and set them to vector. Now we'll scale these two handles until we get a straight line. Then let's select these two handles at the top and scale them again. Let's play. Oh, it's very interesting animation. Let's open up the object transform. Now we will work on the rotation x-axis of the rotation. In the first keyframe, we want to assign a single keyframe again. Then let's move to frame 50 and we enter 180. Now let's move to frame almost 100 and enter 360 and then insert single keyframe. Let's take a look at the animation. Oh, very interesting, but we have to change the direction of the ball. So select the ball, enter tab, and just rotate it by RR 2 times. Let's turn on overlays to see clearly what is happening. That's perfect. Turn on overlays again. Now let's go to the third ball. We start from the first frame. Let's add one keyframe in the Z location. Now move to the frame 50 and insert another frame. Now let's duplicate the same keyframe and move it at 101. Select all the keyframes, right click, interpolation mode, and set them to constant. Let's change it. Go to interpolation mode again, and instead let's set it to bounding box. Wow, it's a very interesting effect. Open up the object transform, and you will see we have only Z-axis available. Let's assign a new keyframe on the X for the rotation in the first keyframe, and then move to frame 50 and go to the transform of the rotation and set it to 180 and insert a single keyframe. Now let's move to frame 101 and set it to 360, and just take a look at the rotation again of the animation of the third ball. Again, the same steps. Enter tab, select the ball, and rotate it slightly to change the direction of the ball in edit mode. You can press R 2 times to do it. That's great. Make sure to save your project so that you don't miss anything. Now let's move to the last ball. We start from the first frame, add a single keyframe in the Z location and duplicate it to the last, and then go to the middle in frame 50 and insert another one by moving it up 5 meters. Control tab to move to graph editor, select all of them by pressing A and then right click. Set handle to vector. Now let's select the middle keyframe and move the handles down. Scale it to get a very sharp, and then scale these handles at the bottom, and you will see when it hits the frame 50 it is very fast. Again, enter tab in edit mode, change the direction of the ball by pressing R twice. And now let's work on rotation of the X. Right click, insert single keyframe in the first frame of the timeline, and then move to frame 50 and set it to 180 again in the last, and set 360. Now we got the loop animation, but you have to work a little bit. So let's move, let's first open up the transform of the object and select the X rotation and focus on it. Let's move the last frame about 6 frame earlier, and the first frame in the timeline, let's move it to frame 20 instead. In this case, the rotation will match the location animation. It's very nice. Now let's get rid of these timeline or the graph editor by right clicking and join down, And let's press Z and move to Material Preview. Turn off this screencast key. Press N to hide the sidebars. And open up the viewport shading and choose a good Blender HDRI. Play around with the word opacity and rotation. Let's turn off all the overlays. And this is the result that we've got. Now you can adjust your angle, your camera angle. At any time you can change your HDRI and just rotate it to get it interesting HDRI, to get an interesting lighting from Blender HDRI. That was today's animation. I hope you learned something useful. Watch my other videos and let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, I've linked to my paid courses. I'd be glad if you support me. The link is in the description.